When action is happening in the present, it is also being continued at the moment when we are talking about it. If it is being continued, then it is called as the present continuous tense. Whenever the subject is he, she or it, in case of simple present tense, then we add s at the end of the verb. If you were to talk about not the habits, not the activities that take place on a day-to-day basis, temporary activities also, you can talk about it in the present continuous tense. Hello and a very warm welcome to your prep school English classes. I'm your English teacher, Kshama. In this session today, we are going to undertake an important section from your grammar, which is tenses. It is truly a component that tenses all the students. However, my aim today is to simplify it to you as much as possible. And whenever you think of tenses, you should think of the fact that it is the easiest of it all. Okay? So let's waste no time and start up with what is there in this session. What are the things? How are we going to, understand tenses? Are there examples? Are there formats of it? How are we going to do it? Let's understand. So you all know that there are three, you've always been accustomed to the tenses and the three forms and everything. Now, what does tense really mean? Okay, the original root word tense, it actually refers to the time format or time reference of something happening or action verb. We all know verbs, isn't it? Now, the time reference of the action as to when it is happening, that is called as tense. Very simple, very easy. Now, how many time periods do we know? Which is present, okay, past and future. These are the three time references that we know. And them combined with the four aspects, it will be how many tenses in total? It's not just the three time references that we know, isn't it? Whenever somebody asks you, at least in the lower grades, we have all told there are three kinds of tenses. That's all. Now, it's time to upgrade ourselves and look at the four aspects. When you multiply these time references with the four aspects, it is 12 tenses in total. Okay, let me not get you confused at all. So we are going to stick to the point. So there are 12 total tenses. Let's see what are the four aspects. The four aspects are simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous, or otherwise also known as perfect progressive. Let's understand it like this. So the first one is present simple tense, present continuous tense, present perfect tense, present perfect continuous tense. Similarly, the same applies to the past and the future. Now here, we are not going to look at all the tenses right away in this exact session. Okay? It's just part one where we are going to look at the first 6 tenses so that it will be easier for us to take it up and understand it and also not get ourselves all confused. Okay? So let's understand present simple tense first without wasting any time. Okay? Now this is how it is. Let's understand all the while we have understood tenses either by the inductive or the deductive methods. First of all, the examples will be given to you. You will have to derive what is the format of this tense, or otherwise format will be given. You will have to give the examples. Now in this session, we are going to understand tenses based on their usage. Okay? The one thing that bothers us whenever we learn something is that where am I going to use these things at all? Now, it's my duty over here to tell you where are you going to exactly use these tenses. Why is it that in different circumstances you use different tense with apt reasons? Okay. So, the first one is simple present tense or present simple tense. It is the simplest of all. Okay. Now, what is the form of it? You all know subject. I, we, you, they, he. All these are subject. Okay. Then we are done with subject. Then comes verb, action words. The words that indicate actions are called as action verbs or verbs. Okay, working, looking, seeing, crying, drawing, all these things are action verbs. Okay, action words also called as verbs. Now, it should be in the present form. The verb should be in the present form. Clear? That is the format of it. Let's see one example for that one. I is the subject. Go is what? Our verb. It is in the present tense. It's not in the past tense. It's not in the future tense. It is in the present. I go. Okay. To school every morning. Now, there are two usage of this particular tense. The first one is to tell you the routine of doing something, if you're doing something on a day-to-day basis, on a regular basis, then you use the present simple or simple present tense. Here it is, habits or routines. Okay? Your job is to decipher whether the sentences are according to the format that is given over there. Okay? So, simple present tense, subject plus verb in the present form. That's all, nothing else. First one, Geeta. Geeta is the subject over here. Goes, she goes, that is in the present tense, to a library on Sundays. It is a routine. It's a habit that she has cultivated and she goes to library every Sunday. Then comes children, subject, often play. Play, obviously, now that I can hear you telling me right through your screens. Okay. Play is the verb. Then play video games after school. This is the habit. So all of this, habits and routines, are in the simple present tense. Moving forward, what else? If you are to express, okay, facts or universal truths about people, these are factual details about people or the factual details about the world. Those things also need to be in simple present tense. Let's take an example. Kshama works as a teacher. It is a fact that she works as a teacher. Kshama is the subject, works, verb, simple present tense, done. Next one, this is about people. Okay. You sing very well. You is the subject, sing, verb. Over here, this is in simple present tense again. So these two are about people. And the next one is the universal truth. We are talking about water, subject, boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius wherever it is. Okay, it is at 100 degrees Celsius that it boils. It is a universal truth. Hence, it needs to be in simple present tense. I hope this is clear. Let's move to the next kind, which is we'll also have to look at a couple of verb forms. Whenever we used subjects like I, there was, the verb was without S. For example, if you can go back and see, I go. Okay? No doubt so far, everything is fine. But Geeta goes. Why so? Now there arises a little doubt, a little confusion, and our job is to clarify it right then and there. Okay? Let's see now over here. Whenever the subject is, note it down, whenever the subject is I, you, we, they. When these subjects are being used, there should be a subject-verb concord, isn't it? So when these subjects are used, the verb over here will be in its basic form. Okay? Work. I work. You live. We play. They go. Simple. But whenever the subject is he, she or it, in case of simple present tense, then we add S at the end of the verb. So how does it sound? Let's try it now. He works. You don't say he work, right? It doesn't make sense, or it is very absurd when you say that. So she lives, it goes, or it drinks. So this is how it is. This is also very important for you all to note. It's simple, isn't it? Moving forward to the second one, it's places where you can use some more of the, if you're using a couple of questions, where else is simple present tense useful? Let's look at that. I was about to skip it just in time. So affirmative sentences. If it is an affirmative sentence, it can be written in simple present tense. Affirmative, she sings or he sings. Okay, S is over there because he, she. That is the reason. Then, I, you, we, they sing. Affirmative sentences, you use simple present tense. Then comes yes or no questions. Your answer to these questions will either be yes or no. Then, does she or he sing? Yes or no. Okay. Do I, we, you, they, all these sing? All of this is in present simple tense. Next up, negative sentences. She or he, subject, does not sing. It's a negative sentence negating something, saying no about something. That is also in present simple tense. All these I, we, you, they do not. When this is used, you know it is a negative sentence. Then comes WH questions. WH questions, when you have written it in simple present tense, let's see how it is. When does she or he sing? When do they sing? Then, when do I, we, you, they sing? That's what we were talking about. So, simple present tense can also be used here in case of how was it written when you have put them in different kinds of sentences. Affirmative, yes or no questions, WH questions and negative statements. Let's see what else is there. I hope we are clear with the format. We'll have a quick review or comparison between the tenses which are pretty similar later on. Okay. Now, moving forward to the present continuous tense. Okay. In the present simple tense, we have talked about habits, routines, or facts or universal truths about people, about the world. That is over. Coming to the second part, when something is happening, when action is happening in the present, it is also being continued at the moment when we are talking about it. If it is being continued, then it is called as the present continuous tense. Let's take an example and understand. I, subject, am, okay, auxiliary verb, going. I am still going. I am still continuing that action. Okay, it is present yet also continuing. Okay. Let's see it in three perspectives, in three ways in which we can use it. What is the form of it? The form of it is subject, I, you, we, they, he, she, it. By now you're accustomed to it. Totally you're a pro now. Then auxiliary verb comes into context in case of present continuous tense now. Now that we have been into it, what are the auxiliary verbs? It is am, is, are. Right now here in this context. Okay. Am, is, or are. I'm going to tell you where you have to use am, is, or are. Here it is if the subject is I. If the subject is I, then I have to say I am teaching. Okay? I am teaching. That makes sense. He, she, he or she or it is listening, is appropriate, right? You, we, or they. You, we, or they. You are listening or you are taking notes, right? So whenever it is I, it's am, he, she, it is. You have to put it into a sentence and understand it by yourself. It's so easy right now. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of examples as well. Don't worry. Then you, we, they is are. I hope that is clear. Now coming to the part of verb. In what form should the verb be? When I told you a couple of examples, you heard that verb is accompanied by another suffix or prefix at the end. The verb is accompanied by ing at the end. Now, what is that going to do? Since the action is in continuation form, okay, we ought to add ing at the end of the verb. So, the first example or the first context in which present continuous tense will be used is actions happening now. As I told you, the action is happening right now. What is the action? Let's take some example. I am going to school now. Right now, I am actually going to school. Present and continuous. Second one, it is raining outside. It is raining outside. Look at your form should be running in your head as you're reading the sentence. And when you're reading the form, the sentence should be running in your head. That's how you work it out. Then we are. As you see, with all the subjects, different auxiliary verbs have been, helping verbs have been used. We are having, have is the verb. We have added ing at the end. Here, raining is the verb, going is the verb. You see that there is commonality between them, that is ing at the end, which indicates, symbolizes the continuation of the action. Then second one, temporary activities. If you were to talk about not the habits, not the activities that take place on a day-to-day basis, temporary activities also, you can talk about it in the present continuous tense. So the first one is Arun is learning to play guitar. He's still learning to play guitar. Next up, I am watching a really interesting TV series at the moment. Right now, actually, although it is temporary, I am about to wind it up at some point, I don't know. But I am right at the moment, I am watching an interesting show. Teresa is staying with us for a couple of more weeks. She's about to presently and also for a couple of weeks, she is about to stay with us. Teresa is staying with us for a couple of more weeks. Then coming to the part of changes taking place. Now, if it is actions happening now and changes taking place now, it would be pretty much similar for you all. It is raining heavily in Bangalore these days. Now, they have not taken right at the moment what is happening. It is generally these days, recently, what is happening, changes taking place now, that we are stating. Lately, in Bangalore, it is raining heavily. Then, the price of groceries is increasing. Price of grocery is the subject. Increasing, okay, verb with ing format is increasing rapidly. Then the last example is scientists Obviously, we got our subject in place. We have to look for the verb now, and also what is the helping verb that is used over here when it is scientists. Okay, say that Earth is getting warmer. Okay, now we got to know there is one subject, there is an object and everything. Let's take this for example, Earth, it. Okay, when there is it, we see is used. Is really used? Yes, it has been used. Earth is getting warmer. Get is the action, ing at the end, getting warmer. So there you go. Present continuous tense. You have the format, you have the examples and the contexts in which you can use it, provided with subjects and their auxiliary verbs. Okay. Next up, let's move on to the past simple tense. Now, why have I taken present simple tense and present continuous tense? Right after that, I am going to past simple tense. Now, that is because they are pretty much similar. Okay, it is easier for you to learn this one after the other and remember the fact that they are similar, and only slight changes need to be done. Okay, now in this case, form. Let's see what is the form. Okay, we'll do vice versa. Sometimes you can look at the form and decipher give some examples. Otherwise, take the examples and decipher the format as well. Okay, it is up to your caliber. It is up to your leisure time. If you want to practice it that way, whatever suits you, you can do it. Okay. Now, the form is subject. Think of the subject of the present simple tense. It was subject plus verb in the present form. That is as simple as that. Okay. Now, in this case, subject plus verb in the past form. It is self-explanatory. You have to get a verb in the past form. How can you do that? Let's see. Completed actions in the past is what the simple past tense indicates. The action has to be done in the past and it should have been completed back then. It is done and dusted. Okay. She called. Call is the verb. There is a subject. Then call is the verb, ed, it is in the past form, called us to play with her. In the past, she called us to play with her. Then let's look at the subject, I went. It is not I go, it is not I goes. No, nothing of that sort. I went in the past to an exhibition last Saturday. Obviously understood. Now that if you are given a question which does not have this particular one, which does not have a verb over here, it only says I dash to an exhibition last Saturday. It is pretty much understood. It has happened last Saturday, my friend. He cannot go. He has went already. I went to the exhibition last Saturday. Then Irfan gave me a present on my birthday. He has given it already, hence gave. Okay. The present form of it would be, what is it? What is the present form of? Can you think of the present form? Can you give a little work to your brain and think of the present form? He gives or he gave. Is it? If it is in the present form, let's understand it. Let's convert it. We have to do a couple of conversion or transformation of the sentences as well. Sometimes the sentences are given in the present form and your job would be to convert it to the past form. Okay. Now, I requested her to come home. I requested in the past. Then the students who are the subject gave correct answers. If it is in the present, I would have here also, I had to tell you, Irfan is giving. Is auxiliary verb. We saw it in the present tense. It was being used. So Irfan is giving. The students are giving. If it was in the present continuous form. Now, since it is in the simple past form, we ought to read it like this. The students gave correct answers. Then they noted down all the points. They noted down. It is done already. We received a package this morning. My grandfather built this house in 1998. Let's see how the format changes. How is it in V1? How is it in V2? And how is it in V3? Okay. So in V1, the verb give remains the same. In the present form, it is give. And in the simple past form, how is it? It is gave. But in the past participle, V3 as we can identify it, V1 is basic, V2 is simple past, V3 is past participle. So give, gave, given. Okay. Then build, built, built. Built remains the same in case of simple past and past participles. It happens with a couple of words. So these are irregular verbs that you need to keep in mind as to how their form changes when they are in basic form, when they are in simple past form, as well as past participle. Okay. Then comes come. Come in the simple present form. Come inside. Then he came. This one remains the same in case of the past participle as well. Eat, ate, eaten. See, saw, and saw. Okay. If ever the word given in the bracket is see, okay, and sentence requires you to convert it into the past form. For example, he dash see is in the bracket. He saw his grandmother crossing the road. Then you should know this form as well in order to transform it, isn't it? And that's the reason the irregular verbs list is given to you at the moment. Then moving forward to the fourth kind. The fourth kind of tense that we are talking about today is the past continuous. We're done with present continuous. Now we are going to talk about past continuous form. Simple past form, past continuous form. Now in this one, let's take the example first. I was teaching. I was. So the action in the past, there was one action happening in the past, which is I was teaching. Let's understand this one. I was teaching in the past, not now. I am talking about it now. Okay? I am talking about it now. I was teaching. And then what happened? The action was happening. Something stopped it. There's another action that sort of interrupted it or made it come to a halt. What is it? When the principal called. This is how it stopped. Okay? In the past, there was an action happening continuously and I am referring to it now. I am talking about it now. And I also tell what interrupted the action. Okay, let's simplify it a bit and understand it. Unfinished ongoing actions in the past can be described with the help of the past continuous tense. Okay, the form is simple. Subject, was or verb. Now you see that the auxiliary verb, the helping verbs are also in their past form. It is not is or are. It's was or were. Then verb in its ing form. Whenever there is continuous is used, it is obvious that the verb is in its ing format. Okay, keep that trick in your head. It was, it, our subject is on point. Was. Why is it was? Because whenever the subject is I, she, he or it, the helping verb used over here is was, and whenever the subject is you, we, they, the helping verb is were. So we can say that I was teaching or I was eating, they were watching. Okay. So it was raining when he left for school this morning. It was raining. Okay. And then what happened? It was raining continuously. Now that I'm referring to it in the present, when he left to school this morning. The power went out while the children were studying. The children were studying. They were studying. Past action continuously. It was happening. Then what happened? Power went off. So you can apply it over to this diagram that you see over here. Diagram has started to creep into English as well in order to make you all understand grammar and make it little more interesting. Then while we were waiting at the bus stop, we saw a car accident. The action in the past was we were waiting in the bus stop. What happened at that moment? At the moment, we saw a car accident. So there is subject, was or were, verb in the ing format, and those are the subjects and what auxiliary verb you ought to use. So I hope this one is clear now. Moving forward to, let's have a quick review of the simple present tense, simple past tense, past continuous tense and present continuous tense. Okay. Let's understand if we have got to know everything, no doubts as of now, everything's clear or not. Present simple tense, I, subject, go, verb in the simpler present form. I go to school every morning. We are talking about a routine. Okay. It happens every single day, every morning, past, now, future also it is going to happen. That is represented through the diagram. Then present continuous tense. So there should be an action which is continuously happening. Okay. Now here you may ask, okay, this also happens continuously. No. You going to school, it doesn't happen continuously. It happens every single day. It's not a continuous action. It is an action that happens on a daily basis. Okay, but this one over here without a break is happening continuously. Present continuous tense. I am going to school right now. Continuously now. Right now. Then you see that over here in the present tense it is happening now. Then the third one is past simple tense. I went to school yesterday. Past, done and dusted. It has happened in the past and it's over. Next, past continuous tense. I was going to school this morning when I met a friend from my previous tuition. What did I tell you? There should be a past action that we are referring to, which should be in the continuous form. And then there is something, another action that has happened and that we are referring to. That's the reason why are we talking about an action that happened in the past? Why are we describing it to somebody in the first place? Because there is something interesting that happened later on, or there's something important that we are referring to. That's the reason we are describing a past action. Okay. I or the subject was, okay, going, verb in the ing format, to school this morning. And what happened? I met a friend from my previous tuition, and that is when I met another friend from my previous tuition. So there was one action that was happening. I was going to school this morning, and what stopped me from going to school? What happened? I met this friend. That is the reason, and we started chatting. Then moving forward to the fifth one, the fifth kind of tense that we are going to take up, which is the present perfect tense. Now, in case of present perfect tense, the format is as such. There is a subject, okay, and you have to add have or has in the present perfect tense. Then verb in the past participle, okay. How is the sentence? Let's understand the sentences and where are these kind of tenses used. First one, she, the subject, has, or whenever there is I, you, we, they, it is have. They have constructed a house. Otherwise, he, she, it. She has visited them. Okay. She has taught English to many students. She has taught English to many students. Now, we can say that, isn't it past, or is it that, how are we referring to it? How is it present perfect tense? Now, it is in the matter of her entire career that we are referring to, and her career is not over yet. It is presently still alive and going pretty well. In that case, okay, she has taught, till now in the present scenario, she has taught English to many students. Keeping in mind the reference is what? In her whole career, which is still present, continuous, not continuously happening, but in that reference. Kriti has visited Kolkata 4 times in her entire life. She's still alive, and this person is still working, still has a career. That is why it is present. Okay. Kriti has visited Kolkata 4 times in her life. She might visit a couple of more times as well. We don't know. But as of now, she has visited 4 times. Then, we have eaten. Eaten, you see that these verbs, verb format, verb action words are in the past participle. Okay. Eaten Golgappa twice this week. We might eat a couple of more times also this week. However, twice we have eaten. They have broken the rules once already. There is no, guarantee that they are not going to do it again. However, they have already once now, they have broken the rules. They have, you see that there is subject, has or have, plus verb in the past participle, in the past form. Okay, broken the rules once already. So that is it about present perfect tense. Anything else that we have to do? So here we understood that what is the action telling us, or what is the idea, motto behind using this particular tense to describe this one. So in order to share an experience of the ongoing time period in her career, which is ongoing, her life, which is ongoing, if you were to share an experience in the ongoing time, that is why it is present perfect. Okay, the experience is perfect, the present time is perfect, and hence it is present perfect over here. So in that time period, ongoing time period, if there is an experience that you need to share, you use present perfect. Then moving forward to the recent actions or events, if you were to refer to that, then you use I just now. I, the subject, have, it can't be has, I has, doesn't make sense. So it is I have finished. It's not finish, it is finished, past participle, finished my paperwork just now. Okay. Jamie is the subject. Has. Jamie has. He has broken his leg. Poor guy. Broken. Past. Verb in the past. Participle. The teacher has addressed the students in the first period about the issue. The teacher has addressed already, but recently in the first period only, just in the first period, the students about the certain issue in the first period, and we are talking about it now. Moving forward, after the present perfect tense, what's the next one that we need to step into? Present perfect continuous tense. Okay, let's see what is the format of it, what are the examples of it, how are we going to understand it. In the present perfect continuous tense, the format is subject, have or has been. So now what is the one thing that is different from present perfect tense that you studied in the past slides? There are two things that are different if you notice. Now along with have or has, we see been. Not Mr. Bean, it's B-E-E-N. Okay. Then you see verb is not in the past form. It is what? We see continuous in the heading, my friend. How can it be past? No way. It is ing. Okay. So subject plus has or have, B-E-E-N, have a little shortcuts or your own ways, tactics and techniques in order to understand and remember. Moreover, to all these things, if you want to remember them, have a little tactics and techniques for yourself. Customize it. Okay. Now, verb in its ing form. Let's look at an example. You are talking about actions that are started in the past. Okay. The action has started in the past, but unlike in the slide that we saw earlier, here the past continuous tense, we see that there is an other action that interrupted it, isn't it? However, in this case, in the case of the present perfect continuous tense, there is no action that has stopped it though. It's not there. It's still continuously going. But the action started in the past. Okay. So, present perfect continuous tense, actions that started in the past and are still continuing. So, along with the subjects, as usual, I, you, we, they, it is they have, and he, she, it has. Let's look at a couple of examples to understand it better. I have been waiting for the bus since 4 o'clock. So, which means that the person has started waiting over here at 4 o'clock and probably is still waiting for the doctor to come. The doctor hasn't arrived yet. I don't know what sort of doctor he or she is now. Then I have been waiting. I is there, subject is there, have been. You see been being used over here, and wait is the verb plus ing. Let's look at a couple of more examples. She has been practicing Bharatanatyam, okay, since she was a kid. We see the subject has been because it is she. Then you see we have been visiting him for 20 years. Now you have to see if it is in accordance with the format that is given to us. We, subject, have been visit plus ing visiting him for 20 years. Now then you see it has been raining all morning. Then they have been trying to understand the issue. They are still trying to understand the issue. It hasn't been solved yet. Hence, it is continuous. Although it started somewhere in the past, they started thinking about it and they are still trying. Okay. So that's about present perfect continuous tense. Present perfect tense, we didn't have a review for that, hence. So this is the format of present perfect tense, which is subject plus have or has along with the verb in the past participle form. Then we looked at present perfect continuous or present perfect progressive, which is subject plus have or has along with been plus verb and ing. Okay. So you got to know that whenever there is continuous action, we have to use verb along with in its ing format. And you also saw that whenever a particular kind of subject is used, what are the auxiliary verbs that ought to be used? Okay, and what is the usage of different kinds of tenses? Where am I supposed to use these sentences? In what sense? How do they make more sense when you're using these tenses in an appropriate manner? I hope these 6 tenses, there are 12 tenses. We are going to take up 6 as of now and work through a couple of examples to understand and sort of internalize all these things so as to never forget them and let's see how this goes. Okay, I hope you practice a lot and go back through the slides and look at all the contents again. Note down all the formats, examples if you wish to. Come up with your own examples, write down, and it's another joy altogether when you're able to, just like solving math sums, for example. You know the formula, and it's easier to couple of times remember this formula, but when you put an example or put a number by yourself and you're able to solve it, it's an ultimate joy, isn't it? The same is the case with English. You put a couple of examples, and if you're able to use it in the real life context when you're talking to people, that's great. So grammar is all about improving your communication on the whole, and that's why you learn grammar in the first place. On that note, I'll see you all in the next class. Thank you.